Hello, hello. Welcome to Two Chicks with Tips. It is episode 10, double digits. I need both hands. That's so exciting. Welcome, everyone, and welcome my co host, Toni Perriott. Hello, Toni.
Hello. 10. I can't
10.
even believe it.
I know it's
That's
a
crazy.
milestone. It's a
Next time we'll have to go.
I know. What am I going to have to do next?
I know, right? Exciting.
We'll see. We'll see when we get there. But today, episode 10, we're going to be talking about burnout, which I think is it's just an important thing in every profession, but especially in professions like ours, where we have to deal with the public, right? When we're front facing, as they like to say. And so that's what we will be talking about today. And Toni and I will be sharing our experiences with burnout and how we handled that, and giving you some helpful tips on hopefully how to handle your burnout, that if you are experiencing burnout or should experience it in the future. And feel free in the comments to tell us what you have done to help counteract your burnout in your profession. So we would love to hear from you as always. So, Toni, why don't you go ahead and start and tell me first about when you've experienced burnout professionally, and what that was like for you, and how you helped relight your passion, right? Reignite your passion. So,
Okay, so we're ready for this because this is like a little baby come to Jesus moment for you. Um, Sometimes we get very stressed out. We all do. And this is kind of going back a couple episodes when it came to our New Year's resolution, and it was definitely about boundaries. I have been working on those and doing fairly well, sticking to them. It's not an overnight journey, that's for sure. It's definitely a work in progress. But when it comes to burnout, uh, Gina and I were speaking a little bit before we started the live or the recording. And kind of like where it goes back to, like we sit at our table and we hear so many different stories and people's problems and all the things that go along with what we do as nail pros. We're somebody's confidant, we're somebody that they can divulge all of their things to, um, secret keepers, we're all of these things. At the end of the day, though, you have like kind of a little built up stress from it. I mean, I don't know about you, Gina, but I do. I get it's like you're holding everybody's problems on your shoulders, even though they're not your problems, but they're somebody's that's I mean, we care about our guests, so we tend to worry about them. I mean, there are times that at the end of the day, I will sit in my car and not put the radio on, nothing. I just want absolute silence,
I say
and then
that's my little disassociation as a tree.
yeah,
Yeah, we have to like
and
a while.
I
The
think if you don't do that, like you'll get, again, burnt out. And it's not that I get burnt out from doing my job. I enjoy my job. I love my job, but at the end of the day, like it's just a lot, it can be a lot. So for me, how I like to handle that is I like to read. It's kind of like my escape. That's just my thing. There are days where people are talking to me and all I can think in my head is like, I really can't wait to get to that book when I get home, you know? So, but again, those are inside thoughts, not saying them, still paying attention to what my guest
Absolutely.
is saying, but that's my escape. And I look forward to that. And sometimes I just have like an Audible going also. So when I get in the car, I'll maybe like turn my Audible book on. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of like how I release. Um, but again, that's the emotional part of it, I think, mostly. But the day to day, when it comes to my work at my table, when you're doing the same thing over and over again, like I offer all services, but like you're doing a LNP rebalance, or you're doing a shellac manicure with a Plexigel, or you're doing a Plexigel builder, or you're doing a spa pedicure or a spa manicure, you're doing all of these things, and then I don't want to say you become complacent and you're almost like robotic, But I feel like for me, once I get to the point where I'm like, I feel like I do the same thing over and over again, a new product from CND launches, or some education comes up, or I'm facilitating a class that like really reignites that spark to facilitate education to nail pros and to really like excite somebody else, when it comes to teaching and new products. So it always just comes back to learning more things, even just adding something to your service menu, like maybe elevating your spa pedicure to something a little different, or Gina can speak to essential oils and stuff like that way better than I can, but like adding something to a scrub or just something a little different, really get you a little bit more excited for that service. And when you get excited about a service, you express it in such a way that your guest gets excited,
Yeah.
so that really helps with that burnout for me when it comes to like actually offering different services and kind of getting away from, I don't know, I don't want to say the regular day to day, but we do the regular day to day. I look at my schedule for the day and I'm like, okay, shellac, 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 fill, shellac, spa, like you look at your day and you're like, okay, and you're almost like a robot. But the great thing about our job is that every person is a different personality. So it's almost like your day goes by so fast. I'll look at the clock, I'll be like, oh, it's already like 5 and I haven't even eaten lunch yet. So that's the one positive about how your day goes, when you have so many different people in one day. But yeah, the burnout thing it's real, and make sure that you get rest and make sure that you recharge yourself, and you know, um, that whole body and mind it can really play some tricks on you if you don't take care of it. I mean, everybody is trying to earn a living and do the best that they can, but at the end of the day, like the only person that you really truly need to make sure you take care of is yourself.
100%. I totally agree. Maisie also agreed. No,
Ah,
she was in the background agreeing with you as well, my dog.
was she? She put give me a little high five.
Yeah, she's like, "Ooh, yeah, girl, get it." But I will say too, like, with speaking about boundaries, and I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves that you set the boundaries, right? Maintaining the boundaries is a practice, right? It's learning a skill, just like learning any other skill, just like practicing a sport or practicing any other skill. There are going to be days when you're not great at it, right? There are going to be days when okay, like that, I try to set my boundaries, and maybe someone steps over them and you don't do anything about it. Like, it's not something, like, it's not an all or nothing thing, right? Setting your boundaries, it's a practice. So don't be too hard on yourself, right? If you one day don't do that great of a job at setting your boundaries, because we all have had days where we're not great at maintaining
Absolutely.
boundaries. So, and I agree with everything you said. There's a few times in my career, I've been doing nails for over 30 years, so there have been a few times in my career where I've experienced burnout. The first time was pretty early on in my career, and I just had a coworker in the salon who said, come to a trade show. Come to a trade show with me. You just need to be re-inspired, So I went to a trade show with her, and I took a CND class because I was a CND user, and I met Carla Chappelle, my first mentor, who got me into being an education ambassador with CND. So of course that was a fantastic way to help
Yay.
reignite my passion. And so I say, like, yeah, one of the really great ways to combat burnout is education, right? So it's a huge
Absolutely.
way to help re-inspire yourself. Even if it's not a new skill, there's always things changing in the products that you're using. We know as education ambassadors, our products, we always learn little new techniques and tricks, and we want to share those with you. That's one of the reasons that we love teaching, is because we want to share that information with other nail professionals. So it's important, I think, if you are feeling the struggle of burnout to get yourself to a class or a digital class or a trade show where you have a plethora of classes to choose from, right? So those are some ways that you can really, really help. Having said that, it's a little bit of self promotion. The two chicks are teaching an online class together, two classes actually, where you can get your pro certification in shellac and in Plexigel. And that is going to be Monday, April 21st. I will put the link below and I will put the link on our link tree on our Instagram bio. So if you guys want to come and hang out with Toni and I on April 21st and get that spark reignited and also get your pro certification in shellac and in Plexigel, we want you to be there. We absolutely want you to be there. So please join us. And then a little bit later in my career, I also had another time when I experienced a little bit of burnout. And that's when I decided to become an esthetician. So I went back to school and I got my esthetician license. And so I have my esthetician license and my manicurist license in the state of Ohio. I offer, skincare services as well as nail services. But I think learning a new skill is also a great way, something that you can incorporate into your salon. Maybe that's, doing it might not have to be getting a whole nother license, in another area of the beauty profession, but you could do you could learn how to do tiny tattoos on people. I have a salon where they have beauty professionals who also tattoo and they do tiny tattoos. So that's fun. You could do some kind of new service like a skincare service for just the hands, right? That could be a huge thing that you could do. You could do henna, right? You could do like henna tattoos. I do a tarot mani thing every fall in October where I do a tarot mani where people pick tarot cards and then I do a nail art design based on the tarot card that they pick. So I've even thought about incorporating like a tarot service or adding a tarot service to my menu with like tea. I love tea. So I was going to do like a tea and tarot service where I do.
Ooh, I like that.
And you get a little like, tea service with it as well. So yeah, there's lots of ways that you can combat that burnout. So, but I think I'm a lifelong learner. So one of the things that really resonates for me is learning something new.
Very cool. I love that. I love the tarot and tea.
Right? Wouldn't that be so much
Because
fun?
like the tea could be like, you could talk
The
about
tea,
the tea.
right?
Right? But we always have to make sure that we maintain our professionalism as well.
Yes, exactly.
Always.
I think we do, one of the things we were talking about, Toni, with that we do know our clients. We do energy work, right? Like we touch our clients. That's where we're kind of different from the hair side of the profession. I mean, they are touching their hair, but we touch their hands. There is a transfer of energy there. We take their energy in, they take some of our energy. This is why we sometimes have to sit in our cars and
Mhm.
write and disassociate for a little bit
Yeah, it's a
before
lot
we go
sometimes.
or start driving, right?
Mhm.
And
And not like in a bad way. It's just like the feels,
yeah,
like you have all
absolutely.
these feels, you know. You get my mom's sick, my father passed away, my this, my sister, my boyfriend, my husband, my kid, my all these things that people are very emotional about. And we're so front facing, we're in such an intimate environment.
Yeah. And I think because of that, we do have a tendency to slip into oversharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe too
Mm-hmm.
much, and especially when not just at the table for us, but as also education, nail product. education ambassadors,
Hmm.
we want to maintain that professionalism throughout, right?
Well, I agree. And, like I believe with representing a brand, professionalism is super important.
I agree 100%. I will tell you, I'm pretty loyal to CND. I don't know a lot about the other brands that are out there.
Hmm.
Because of that, when I have someone who might ask me, well, what do you think of brand A or brand B? I'm honestly like, I don't speak on it because
Right,
I don't know anything about it.
right. I think the only time that I've ever like
I don't,
made comment about it is in regards to shellac. And
yeah,
the only thing that I honestly will say, and because it's what I know, is that we are the innovators for one, and we have quick release polymers that release for that butterfly effect like no other. So I know it's going to come off 100% without damaging the nail. So like that, I'm super confident in saying, because it's usually a question about gel polish, you
yeah,
know, because if I ask like, what do you have on? If it's a new guest and they're like, I don't know. And then, we as detectives are like, is it a little bottle? Like all the things. But typically you see the color and you're like, that's not one of mine. So, but in regards to like saying negative things about brand ABC, like that, if anything, just doesn't look good on you as a pro.
no.
No, not at all.
So,
Because I mean, like I decided to partner with CND when I, started doing nails. I was lucky enough to where I went to my manicure license education at, like that's what they used,
that's awesome.
So I was very lucky. Like I started off with the best, right? So I didn't have to like do all that research and try a bunch of things until I found the thing that worked for me. So but and other nail pros out there have partnered with different brands and that's great.
Yeah,
Like absolutely 100%. If that's what's, building your business, then that's wonderful. I just know I can speak for myself and say this is what I use and stand behind,
yeah, absolutely.
so make sure that just, you stay professional because it's very easy to not be.
Yes. And I think that adds additional stress in the
Yeah.
end. Uh,
100%.
right? It's just another boundary. It's
Hmm.
another boundary that's going to protect you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because, people talk. They
Yeah.
do,
Hmm.
and I know that I'm providing a premium service with premium product, just like you are.
Yeah.
So that always makes me feel good.
Yes, indeed.
I know. So I am excited to see who is going to join us for our classes.
Yes. Hopefully we will see you guys on April 21st.
Yes.
And let us know what your share your burnout stories with us. Sharing is caring, right? So share your burnout stories with us. We would love to hear them. Love to hear how you combat burnout in your career, and also make sure to like us, and you can subscribe to us here on YouTube, and then make sure that you also are following us on Instagram, and hopefully we'll see you on April 21st, if not before then, and have a fantastic day. So
Yes.
bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you soon.